Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Makadi henyu runin zoe. Salbonan liangin zoe. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. You can unmute your audio if you want, and you can talk if you also want. That's still okay. Okay, so I'll just give everyone a chance and then maybe start at 8:05. So all those who haven't joined, I hope that would have joined by 8:05. So I don't know if that's okay with you, just about 3 minutes, I think.
Morning.
Great, how are you?
I'm good.
Your audio is not that good. Do you mind?
Oh, it's Paul.
Yeah, yeah, it's sure.
Low or Paul? Let's see. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now it's better.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, now we can start. Let me just check.
Mm.
Uh, I hope everyone has entered. Uh, Let me just check now. Okay. How are you guys? How are you guys? I hope you can hear me. Hope you can hear me. Please just you can either respond through audio or you can just show on the messages that you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm fine, Linjani Makadi.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nigel. Okay, so I am going to start. So I just hope I'm going to do just a short presentation and then we leave everything to QA because most from the last survey we made or we did on the group, I noticed that um probably most of you are probably stuck on one of the stages, especially the other stages, especially the final stages that one may need to file an application for. So I noticed that most of you have not filled, have not been successful in proceeding from there. So I want you guys to really express yourself in the context of where are you stuck and how best we can help. So I'll just do a short presentation for those who are attending this one for the first time. So I will kind of like repeat a presentation that I did during the first days of this organization or first days of this initiative. So let me just access my presentation just a few seconds. Let me just okay, okay, there you go. Okay, can you see the presentation? I hope you can see. You can see, Margaret. You can see, right?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so who am I and what are we? So my name is Jonathan T. Vunzawabaya, and I'm doing a PhD in computational theoretical chemistry at K-State. And I have a very long history of scholarships and uh, the journey of scholarships, the journey of fully funded scholarships. I started undergrad where I did my bachelor's. Not undergrad, actually, it was high school with Capenham Trust, which supported me until bachelor's. And for my master's, the one that I did in Malawi, I also got another scholarship, which was Africa Center of Excellence. So now I'm also another full funded. I might not say scholarship, but for now, you can call it a scholarship, fully funded PhD in computational chemistry. So I do have a very long history of like uh of getting or being fortunate to get fully funded scholarships. And what is this initiative that we started called ZIM US Grad School Initiative? So this initiative was started by me, Makawe, and supporting staff, Margaret, and also other people who are not here today, grad school students who are also who were fortunate to start their PhD here in the USA. So we have Makawe Ndlovu is in Tulsa University doing chemistry. We started together last year. Then we have Margaret Pagare, also PhD in chemistry, fourth year now, started some time ago. So yeah, so these are the people who will be helping us today and who will be actually supporting me as well as I'm just doing the talking. So, what is the aim of ZIM US Grad School Initiative? Um, the whole point, as illustrated sometimes in the group, is to try to assist and to provide a clear, concise, stepwise approach to applying for US grad school. And just from this is the initiative was started from this backdrop actually, whereby we noticed that in the USA they take a lot of graduate students. And what are graduate students? Graduate students are those who are studying masters and PhD or other advanced degrees. They take a lot, as illustrated by this plot that you're seeing here. So while back in Zim we only have few of the accepted students by the US universities. Very small percentage actually come from graduate students. So this kind of like, it's a gap. Of course, we noticed it on the ground this side that people are not here because we have very few Zimbabweans. Of course, Zimbabweans are here, but compared to other nationalities, we're very few, as you can see, compared to this plot that we have here for 2019 during, is it 2020, 2019, 2020, during COVID. You can see that Zimbabwe was part of the last three countries to have such a number. of people who are getting accepted, and we have Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt, Kenya. These numbers, they are a little bit lower because this was during COVID. So which means by now they might have maybe doubled or tripled or something like that. So this backdrop kind of like gave us this motivation to say, oh, we can try to support with information and also clear steps. So the whole point is, maybe if you are successful in the approach we are taking in, you may volunteer as well to support others, because the whole point is to have a bigger community of Zimbabweans so that we can even support uh, back home, or even do stronger collaborations in the same respect. So when it comes to grad school, there's so many reasons to apply, but of course, most of them, you want to advance your career, research, and something like that. But of course, if you are not sure of what you want to do career-wise, it's not advised to advance for grad school, especially PhD, because it will be kind of like a wastage of time. So I want to go straight to the whole point of applying. Um, the as I said earlier, USA takes a lot of grad students, and uh, it's an obvious, and that's how they've been doing this for many years. Many foreign people, foreign nationals who are this side, they came through school. So eventually, yes, you will get a job if you are curious about that, and even more, there are other opportunities outside boundaries which you may actually make use of. So, um, what is really necessary for one to get started with grad school in the USA? The procedure is pretty much simple, because the necessities for one to file a successful applications are very clear. Um, uh, Most universities, they do require this list of requirements that you're seeing here. So if you visit any website, um, I think I will retweet the other video that I sent in the group, where I was sharing how best somebody can approach a university. So the whole point is, you need to just get this list. Most of the universities, they require this list. So you need to prepare these things in time. If not, still you can prepare them and file the application. You need to have you need to have your unofficial transcript. You need to have your letters of recommendations. You need to have sometimes English proficiency requirements. You need to have your resume, right? And roughly that's it. And then these other ones are kind of like, okay, the quality of what you have. For example, you can add to GRE and GMAT, which are special tests. So when it comes to transcript, unofficial and official, the difference is, an official transcript is the one that is regarded as given by the university, right? Directly, the university to university, because it's an official is a more of an authoritative transcript that is coming directly from the university. And unofficial is the copy that you have. So they are all the same, but the verification is just the one that is different. For example, in my case, I sent an official during application, and the official transcript is usually required after you've been accepted. So the official transcript mostly, sometimes you have to contact the university to send directly, or you have to bring the hard copies yourself. Some of them, they bring the official transcript when they are now coming to learn. For example, I think the grad school here, they do the same thing. But for me, I just requested the university that I previously did my studies to just write. And then recommendation letters. With recommendation letters, these are testimonials about your abilities that are given by people who have that you have professionally worked with, or that have taught you previously. For example, lecturers, professors. But for grad school, it's usually preferred that your professors write these recommendation letters. Maybe most cases there are three recommendation letters required. So maybe if it's professional, maybe one, and then the other two should be purely academic, because you're looking for an academic opportunity. So it's actually good to maybe inform those people mostly the moment when you start the process, so that they may know what they need to be doing. And the other thing, when you are working with recommendation letters, it's also advised that you can also ask what is needed for them to write, so that you can assist. For example, some needs your CV, some need your official transcript, some may even need a template. So to make things easier, because someone is doing a favor for you, so it's good for you to help them. And then the other thing that maybe I would wanted to say about those requirements is the idea of a resume as well. I think in the group I sent US standard CV. So there are specific CVs that are kind of like normal this side, because CV is just like a way of communication. And most of the ones that we make in Zimbabwe, they are lengthy. Uh, and some of them, they are more like industrial professional, not academic. So an academic CV has some specific necessities that are listed in there. I think I'll just resend again the CV that I sent in the group, so that you can actually take a look at some of the other ones. But for specific issues, you can actually maybe contact us in the inboxes. And then when it comes to GRE and English requirements, some programs and some universities require English requirements and programs, and also as well as GRE tests. GRE, which are sort of like a standardized aptitude test, which people do take before getting accepted. So sometimes you may be required to write those, sometimes you may not be required. For English requirements, it's good to take advantages of one, the waivers, two, to take advantage of the fact that if you are from Zimbabwe, you may be waived because you come from an English-speaking country. I think I also highlighted that in the video that I sent last time. So I will resend that video of a walkthrough tutorial to all this stuff. So um, some people ask, like, what about funding? What about funding? How is grad school funded? You can usually, the reason why the US government takes more grad school students is because they, in most cases, in most cases, very small cases are not funded. Most of them are fully funded, because you'll be conducting research and also advancing so many aspects of the whether it's departmental or whether it's research work in any university in the US. So you are offered what they call assistantships, in which you'll be teaching mostly, or you'll be taking instructing labs. So you are given a payment for your work, and and in response, also, for in addition to the payment, you are provided what they call a tuition waiver, and as well as sometimes a medical aid payment waiver. Maybe they provide 80%. So it's more like you're just working and you're getting remuneration from that. So that's how these people fund you. And most of the stipends that they give you, at least it might not be too much as expected. Like, it's not like you get rich now, but at least you can afford a life, and probably even save to support some people back home. And when it comes to stipends, they differ on state or town, something like that. And then the other thing that I didn't add here is, if the extreme comes to the extreme, I actually talk to people about this. Loans may apply, but it's highly not advisable, though it's possible uh for one to now apply a loan. So one, if you get a scholarship but you don't get funding, you might as well um apply for a loan. There are some specific loans that are also available. I did a previous presentation on that. I think I'll send you another link as well, so that you can look in details about loans that are possible. So uh how do you choose a university? That's one of the things that one may struggle with. How do I choose a university? So in most cases, it's good to just choose a university based on research, ranking, and sometimes acceptance rate. You might actually want to look at that. And in the USA, there are so many universities. My suggestions may be limited, but it's good to know that there are so many universities in the USA to apply for, more than 1,000 with so much ranking. So it's good to really take some time to think about which universities. And then some of the things that you can make use of is the idea of the international profile of the university, like what are the number of international students that are there? Because some of the universities that have previously taken students like Zimbabweans or Africans, they have the propensity of taking more African or Zimbabwean students. So sometimes it's good to go to universities where Zimbabweans have been taken. Also, this is just an extension, but not a limitation. So you can apply to any universities you want, including Harvard. But sometimes it's also good to look at your chances. For example, if I'm applying at Harvard, I should know that Harvard is highly competitive, right? Of course, most of us back home, we know popular universities that are possibly top 10 universities in the US. But one thing that you should take note of is the most popular and the most highly ranked are highly competed for. So your chances of getting in usually hang within a thread. So it's difficult to balance it out. But one thing that you can make use of is uh, aim for the ones that are what they call the low hanging fruits, universities that are easy to get, universities that are easy to target. So it's good to actually take advantage of that. And then finally, the other thing that one can make use of when it comes to universities is also the idea of making use of LinkedIn when it comes to connecting with other students that have previously been accepted. One can actually make use of that as well. So it's good to just make use of that. Some of the universities that I know that I've taken as Zim students, to be much more specific, a program that I'm inclined to, maybe chemistry. This is a limited list. The list is actually endless, including all these other Harvards and Princeton, MIT. There are Zimbabweans there, but for the ones that the investors that I know that I have Zimbabweans that I even know are also listed in this list, right? And what I also wanted to add is some of the programs that have been accepted in that have been taking students in the university that I'm at now. This list is also limited. There are some, but they've almost in these departments there are a number of Africans that are there. So we have geology, architecture, English, family studies, biology, chemistry, econometrics, and economics, entomology, plant pathology, maths, leadership studies, psychology, and a range of them. There is also, I did include communications, English literature. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can apply, and I think for a starting point, some of them I'll just encourage you to just apply at universities that I met because it's a university that I know, okay, has at least a higher chance of taking some African students. And it's good to do a good replacement for some of the Zimbabweans that are leaving. So that's it mostly on what you call it on the application process. I try to make it a bit quick one because I want to leave a space for questions. What you can do after PhD, most of the visa status that we're given here, it allows the family as well. F1, uh, it allows family. At the same time, the visa status also allows you to work, even internships during the process. Plus, after you're done with your studies, you're allowed to work for STEM subjects. You're allowed to work 3 years. For non-STEM subjects, you're allowed to work 1 year afterwards. But when you're working, you're using your student visa, remember, so you can actually try to work on getting a different type of visa, like the actual work visa. For example, if you're going to be doing a postdoc, then you probably need a J visa for postdoc. And then for work purposes, there are different types as well, a list of them. So you can actually now process the other types of visas when you are now working and getting some employment, sponsorship, and the like. Then the other thing is, I said you are allowed to bring your family here, they can come. So family is not a limitation if you do have one when you want to come this side. And the other thing, if you don't get a job in the USA, I usually say which country cannot accept a PhD or a master's from the USA. You have a vast range of places to go. You might want to go back home, or you can still go to any other part of the world because at least you got a qualification from a globally accredited institution. With this, guys, thank you very much for listening. For now, I will take your questions and try to interact as much as possible. So you are free to write the questions or you are free to type those questions. Thank you very much. I shall leave also this platform for Margaret and Makawe if you want to add any stuff that I left out because I was just trying to rush.
Hello. So it's a question. I've got a PhD. So let's say I want to, maybe I came in late, sorry about that. So maybe I might have missed some things. So maybe I can get more clarification. So let's say you'd want a postdoc in America. What's the easiest route? At times it's difficult to apply when you're home, when you're in Zimbabwe, to apply for these postdoc positions. And yeah, so maybe if I can get an understanding of what one can do if they already have a PhD and they want to pursue a postdoc career in the United States.
Okay. Margaret, do you want to take this one?
Thank you for the question. Oh, thank you, Jonathan. If you already have a postdoc, sorry, a PhD, there are two options. The first option is you can do another PhD. So I've seen cases where people with PhDs from other countries, they come here, they start another PhD, which is different from the PhD that they had home. As long as I think you are able to explain in your SOP why you really need this PhD. And some professors will definitely want someone who has been through research to join their lab. That's easy. Then the second option is to apply for postdocs, like a postdoc position, like you said. And that one, I would say the same way we apply for graduate school, for a PhD, you use the same tactic as well. Go to every website, every school that's listed here or any other school that you think of, you go on their website. But instead of looking for graduate positions, you are now looking on their career website. Every school has a career website. So when you go on that career website, you look for postdoc positions. And then another platform you can use is Twitter. Some professors post postdoc positions on their Twitter spaces. Another option would be LinkedIn. If you just type in LinkedIn postdoc positions, they'll come up. Once they come up, you contact the professor, the labs. And then the other option would be networking, through networking. If they are friends, who are already in these universities, talk to them and ask them if anyone is hiring. That's the fastest way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a Chiponda, right? Chiponda tea, right?
Yes.
Yes. I hope you answered.
Yes, I'm answered. Just I hope it is feasible.
Yeah, it is actually feasible, but of course, they're a little bit strict, of course, because postdoc, it's not like you are going to be learning. It's like you're going to be working. Like
Okay.
they're really yes, actually there are more opportunities in postdoc as a graduate studies job more than they are maybe for industry. Actually, like you can easily go for a postdoc. Actually, for us who are doing like PhDs and the like, the most easiest route is once you are done, you can easily do a postdoc here in the USA.
Yeah.
It's so
Mm.
easy. Actually, they are always open vacancies or something like that. But now the question is mostly like your qualifications, because as I said that um these guys they are strict when it comes to output. So sometimes it's even a challenge for some postdocs who have come here from even South Africa or some other places. They have even sometimes struggled to adjust because the expectation is extremely high, but it's not that it's impossible. That's the whole thing. Like coming here from using a PhD, it's not impossible. The other thing that you can actually venture into mostly is, look at says, you look at the group website or the departmental website. For example, let's say in my department, we have chemistry. Chemistry, we have professors have websites. These professors, if they're looking for a postdoc, sometimes they even write out one, two, or you can actually reach out to those professors if they need, because when it comes to postdoc, it's not just the department that is taking you, but it is the professor. There's no around it. It's mostly the professor, unless you'll be working as a teaching staff or a teaching professor you are taken per departmental requirements. But mostly postdoc is like the professor has funding and wants to take you. So you need to market yourself. Actually, here at K-State, we do have a Zimbabwean who came for a postdoc, right? And he's actually one of the people who inspired me when I was looking at the website. Wow, oh, there are so many Zimbabweans here, and then I saw that. So it's doable. That's the whole point. It's doable, but you need to be forthcoming. But if you think it's hard, then you opt for the other option that Margaret talked about, doing another PhD. That's if you want. And then I saw also some two questions here. Is there any age limit? Macau, is there any age limit?
Hello. I don't think there is an age limit. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I don't think there is an age limit.
Mm.
Yeah, there's no age limit.
Yeah. It's called ageism if they recruit you because of your age. It's some kind of, when we say racism, ageism. So even when you're 50, 60, you can start your PhD or 70.
A
I've seen an
master's.
article of an 80-year-old who graduated PhD in divinity. So at 80, you can do your PhD.
And the minimum qualification is a bachelor's for a PhD or a master's. So the lower limit is very low. The upper limit is infinite until you're dead. So there is no age limit.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then is there another question that I didn't see? Okay, do they consider how old your master's is? Suppose I got a master's in 2010. Margaret,
Mm. No, they don't look at that. They consider it as in, sorry, consider it as in, do they count it as part of your qualifications or, okay. So the one thing I noticed is it's all about how you write your statement of purpose. Your master's, whether you did it in 2010 or recently, if you write it well in your SOP, like the qualities and should I say everything that you gained during your master's, you just have to write it well. The time that you did your master's to now, that one doesn't matter. It's a plus actually having a master's. Mm.
yes. In
It's a
addition
plus.
to that, it's a plus to have a master's, it's a plus
Mm.
to have previous research work, it's a plus to have teaching experience.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
three things, Those three things, they are a plus. There's
Mm.
no, it's a plus. And
Yeah.
sometimes, of course, it's about how you market.
Yes.
Right?
How
It's
you
about how you
write.
market in your CV. It's about how you market it in your statement of purpose or in your letter writers, motivational letters, statement of purpose, or these other letters that you write. So it's about how you point it out, but it's an advantage, especially for some who think that in their bachelors they didn't do so well, right? And I think on another thing, Margaret, I will really come back to you on this question. For example, there are some who can say, I did not do well in my bachelor's. What are my options?
Oh, okay. So let's say you didn't do well, or you did a bachelor's. A good example is my case. When I did my bachelor's, I had bachelor's general, so I didn't have research work. It was a 3-year program. So if you are someone like that, or you didn't do well in your bachelor's, like probably you got a 3 or you got a 2, which is not a high grade, one of the things you can do is first, you can go for a master's back home, whether South Africa or Zim or anywhere you can get a master's. Get a
Even
master.
Asia.
Yeah, even Asia. Because what's important is to have, and most of my friends, I usually encourage them to go for a master's either South or Asia or Europe, because there it's easy to get a master's. So once you get into your master's program, you make sure you work hard, you increase your GPA. If you can get above 3, because here for PhD, they usually take 3.0 and above GPA. So you work hard, you make sure you get above 3 GPA, and then you write your SOP well. So in your SOP, these are things that you can explain, whatever reason you want to put in your SOP that probably you didn't do well because of 1 or 2, but then in your master's you did well. So that can significantly improve your chances. Then there's also honors program for those who didn't do any research work, or join any research lab so that you get research experience. That would be a plus on your side. Then also take some teaching. I know back home people don't like teaching, but I tell you, whether you're teaching in a high school setting, you are teaching at college setting, that will significantly increase your chances. That teaching experience that Jonathan was talking about, and that research, you can get it from any research institution or any university. Talk to professors who are doing research. They might want research assistants, so that can help. And then while you're in that research group, make sure when they are publishing, they put your name on the papers. That's very key. The work that you're doing, ask them nicely if they're writing papers, and then ask them nicely if they can also add your name to the paper. That will go a long way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that actually that is you just said it all, right?
Mm.
I usually encourage those who are still doing their bachelors. There are some things that you can fix while you're doing your bachelor's.
Yeah.
Of course, the most hardest one is your GPA. You can increase the number of your B's or your A's, right? So that
Mhm.
at least a 2-1 or a 1-1, right? That's a good thing. A track record of excellence is always an advantage. But
Yeah.
given that things do happen the way they do happen, there are some other things that you have to work on. For example, you have to work on your recommenders. Like people who recommend you need to really stand on your side. Recommendations seem as if they're not as powerful, but they are really powerful. Because that's another testimony of your ability coming from somebody who's accredited, right?
Mm.
So please take care of those. So make necessary relations. Sometimes connect with those, even so those who finish, connect with these people who you feared so much. It's good
Yeah.
to really connect with those. Me, I didn't struggle with my recommendation. And
Mm.
some of them were now my friends. You know, you talk to them because when you're asking
Mm.
for recommendations, you have to talk at a friendly tone, not at a
Mm.
hey, fear, you know, that thing. but you have to like ask, hey, I'm applying for 2 universities. Are you willing to write recommendations for me for the 2 universities that I'm writing for? Some may have available for 1 or not even. So there are some of those things. And then working on, there are also short courses, online courses or free courses that kind of like complement, they spice up your CV as somebody who's willing to learn, right? And I'm not saying short courses that are all over the place, but focused short courses that show that, okay, I did not get this part from my bachelor's, but I'm getting it through other means, right? So if you can get some short courses, online courses, especially that address the specific field you want to apply for, or specific masters or PhD. This also goes for those who want to shift fields, right? If you're shifting field and you have a short course in that, it's given that you do have necessary experience and your attachment or your work-related learning, right? Also take note of it as well. Now I'm speaking in mostly in the context of writing a CV as well. Those things, they do matter. So the way you explain them, the experience that you got from there, it always has to complement. I'm talking, let's say if you don't get good grades, at least some other things have to testify to your ability. So even your attachment has to be really good. Even your publications, like for example, it's possible to publish something at bachelor's. You don't need to publish it at a very highly ranked journal, but somewhere, partially maybe peer reviewed. It's good to have something online that was attested by someone else who is not you, to say you did something good. So please take care of those things as well. They complement. I think we have other 3 questions that have come. Makawe, can I change my study area at master's? Can I change my study area that I did at master's at PhD? Makawe, can you come through on that one? Makawe, are you still there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm just trying to go through and check the I don't understand this question.
Or it's like, I think it's saying that let's say I did psychology at master's, right?
Yes.
Can I do this is the extreme side. Can I do chemistry at PhD? Or I did psychology at PhD studies. Can I do a PhD in communication? Something like that.
I think that is possible. All you need to do is to communicate with the professors. For example, you want to shift from communication to psychology, right? This is just an example. Then if you communicate with the a professor who's in psychology or your potential supervisor and they agree, I think it's possible to change the fields, because I know some people, for example, here where I am, who changed from mechanical engineering and then they did their masters in materials or mechanical engineering, and then for their PhD they shifted to petroleum. So I think it's possible to change. It depends, of course, with fields, like from what field to what field. But I think it's definitely very possible.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I think it's very possible. But one thing that you should just take care of is a drastic change of your domain. For example, changing how do you call it? Do you call disciplines? Maybe a little bit not so flexible. For example, coming from social science, going to let's say natural sciences, that might be a drastic change, right? So there is a lot of need to kind of like justify and like, but change of fields or change in programs within the same domain, it's easier, right? And it's actually encouraged because you're bringing something. In my research group, we have people from, I'm doing a PhD in chemistry. We have people from physics, pure physics, who did their bachelor's in physics. We have pure people who came from mathematics, right? Pure mathematics. And sometimes some people did pharmacy, but they're doing medicinal chemistry, or chemistry, PhD in chemistry, but medicinal chemistry. So you can shift. It depends on just, as you say, the department, the professors, the requirements of the program itself. So roughly that's it.
Jonathan, I wanted to add something. I had an experience like that recently. If you want to change discipline, like you said, you should also be willing to do the things that you need to do. I would say if you are serious about it, contact the program
Coordinator.
coordinator or something in that department. You ask them and you even tell them your background. Most of the time they are willing to tell you what they look for. And then when they tell you what they look for, you can even ask them, as in, what do I need to do so that I qualify for the program. They can even tell you the courses you need to take if you're on the same university. If you're not, they can tell you you need probably basic in this or basic study in this. And then you do those courses, then you apply. It's possible.
Okay. And do you have any idea how GPA is calculated from Zimbabwean qualifications?
Yeah. So what that's an interesting question. So what they do, if you send uh you send your transcript to either WES or the Spantran. There's Spantran, there's WES or any other company. And then they take your courses and then the way I see it is I don't know if you had half courses at your school. There are full courses and half courses. And then they give them credits. If it's a master's, they give them a certain credit. Like in our master's program, we have 3 credit courses, 2 credit courses, 1 credit courses. Then they give them credits. Then they also give your course a credit based on how you pass it. If you got a B, then they give you whatever credit they think it's a B or it's a C. That's how I see it. There's no weighting. Every course has the same weight from first year to final year. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, some universities they do offer GPA, like Chino
Yeah.
University.
Mm,
And then
mm,
for some, I think one of my colleague, what they did, with a bachelor's from UZ, instead of doing the West, because West it's a platform, a paid platform in which one can change qualifications into US graded qualifications or any other country which requires that standard. So GPA is sort of like a standardized grade point average for anyone else who wants to get in. So that's the other thing. But I think for some people who've been taken from Zimbabwe, like we have a previous experience with UZ, there is just a need of verification whether you were a top 5% of your class or top, I don't know, 1% or something like that. It's not so clear because I did my bachelor's at Chino University, but it's good to just check as well. And also departmental wise, it's good to encourage the university to now shift to GPA now because it's kind of like more credited. Makawe, they require GPA at your university?
So in my case, they did not. So I never did the conversion, like GPA. I just, presented my transcript as it was, and I was never asked to convert it to, say what GPA is this or something like that. So I think it depends from also like what university you're applying to, and how they take your transcript. If they can easily interpret it, I do not think they can ask you for a GPA. But in some universities, of course, they're going to ask for the GPA if they're not well versed with the system, and then they need to compare vis-a-vis with their system.
Yes. In addition to that, that's the reason why sometimes it's super necessary to apply at a university that has previously taken some Zimbabweans before. Because if that university has taken Zimbabweans before, which means that they do have a track record of Zimbabwean qualifications, or specifically the university that you're coming from. But that does not mean that universities that have not taken Zimbabweans before cannot do the same thing that Makawe did. I think Makawe, you are possibly like the first one in your department, right? Is that so?
Oh yeah, I'm the first one in
Yes.
my department from Zimbabwe.
Yes. So that does not really mean that they can't do that if there are no other Zimbabwe. But which means
Yes.
that the second Zimbabwean who's going to come where Makawe is more likely to be accepted in a quicker sense than Makawe was. Because they now know the qualification, they now know the universities, they now know the system, right? Then there was, what if you did a what if you did a course based masters and your thesis work was never published? How do you apply with an empty publishing history? Is it a deal breaker? You can actually apply without a publishing history, even without a master's. Makawe, do you have publishing history?
No, I do not have
Uh-huh.
publishing history. So I was going to say, in as much as it can be discouraging at times to apply, because I know sometimes they will say, prior research experience or a publication, even if you don't have, don't let it be, a bridge. Just keep applying. You can still get in. I did get in without a publication. So I think it's possible. But of course, having a publication means your chances of getting accepted will be even higher.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Yes.
That is actually true. The other thing is, the whole point is when you're applying, have a corner in which you are able to express your capabilities. Apart from, because the whole idea is, usually they say, hide your perceived failures and magnify your perceived success, right? So that's the whole point. What is your success, right? Which makes you stand above the rest. So before you apply, you have to highlight your central point, right? So in most cases, if you have that central point, that shapes the narrative in your CV, it shapes the narrative in your recommendation, it shapes the narrative in your letter writers. So all those things, they do matter. But it's good to have a lot of things that do shape your perceived success. So if you have a number of things, a number of activities, like for example, we're talking about teaching, we're talking about research, whether it's publishing or non-publishing, we're talking about conferences, whether you presented a poster or an oral presentation, whether you did a bachelor's and you got a very good degree class, you had maybe it's a research project, you got 80%, 90% in your research project, whatever perceived success that you have to magnify it in your application. That's the best way to stand above the rest. Can I apply to more than one professor in one university? Of course. It's actually encouraged you don't apply to a professor, by the way, but you do approach the professor. You apply to a department, you don't apply to a professor, but you do approach professors, because professors are eventually the ones that take you within their labs, although the department is giving you the program, because the person who gives you the program is not the person, but it's the department. But the person who gives you the research platform to express whatever your research interest to work on in the next 5 years or 3 years is the professor. So it is encouraged that you do approach the professors. And then the other thing that I wanted to say, almost now closing, is that the reason why we kind of like conducted this meeting as a cover up for all the other meetings that we've been having is the fact that the 4 applications are going to start very soon. So I think August, September, 4 applications will opening. When you say 4 applications, 4 is a season similar to summer in Zimbabwe. Like I'm talking about August to around December. That's what they call fall, right? And so the applications that are coming in this time, they are going to be opening, and most of the programs that you are not seeing, if you already started in the online tab, will start now appearing on the online tab, as long as they are requesting people to apply for fall. Most universities in the US, they have a fall intake, meaning that they have an August intake. So one needs to apply for that mostly. And for spring, there are rare cases. Mostly spring, it's masters or taught courses or non-funded classes. So it's rare cases that programs, they take spring semester, but most of them it's next year August. So which means that if you want to be accepted or not, if you want to start next year August, you need to start applying now, so that they review they review application and they also give you necessary feedback. This is the application timeline. I'll just rush through this one. You apply for fall between August to next year January, depending on the universities, and from January to April, they are accepting people who have applied for the fall, and they're giving feedback, and and people are arranging the visas to come, right? And the next August, which appears, they'll be starting, or July, they'll be starting. And then the summer ones, the summer classes are very rare, the spring ones are very rare. But sometimes you have to also prepare if you want for them. Then also another case is, if you pass the deadline for fall applications, most universities, they do take applications on rolling basis. This means that as applications come along, they review them there and there, because this happens mostly if the department is student staffed, doesn't have so many students for a specific program. So it's good to be on the outlook for such universities so that you can approach them. So big recommendations, please apply this fall or this August. File applications, because if you don't, you have to wait next year to apply again, because you have to file the same application next year August, which means that you'll be getting in for a program which is scheduled for 2026. So that's a long time for me. That's a long time. And it's a long time to give up. It's a long time to move on. It's a long time. Don't think you're worth it, right? So it's better to start acting now and just try your chances. And what's the target? At least 3 universities, at least 3 universities. At most, try to approach the professor, at least, even if you don't approach a professor, but at least try to meet the requirements that have been requested. Target also universities that do give Zimbabweans an English waiver, and programs that don't require a GRE, programs possibly that don't require or that have a very low application fee. That's if you don't have so much money, or those that do give application waivers. So these are just tiny little advices you can actually utilize to get rolling and to get started. I don't know if you have any last more questions or last more comments. Margaret, I'll leave this opportunity to Margaret, Matawe, if there are no more questions. If you have questions, please type them. I think we'll take just 1 or 2 questions, and then I'll have the last saying from Margaret and Matawe.
Okay. I have an addition on there's a question, you answered most of it. What if you did a course-based master's and your thesis was never published? So I wanted to add a point there. Most universities these days, or at least the time that I did my master's, they put the thesis work on what's called a repository on their website. So technically your work is online. Even if you have not published it, it's online already. So when you open your Google profile, you notice that thesis work will also be there. So what's important when you're writing your SOP, make sure you indicate what you've gained through doing your thesis, and then you can put the link of that thesis work, even if it wasn't published. That can also work as well.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Okay, we have another question here. What are the common errors that we should avoid when applying in terms of language of use formats in CV and resume CV and other information necessary? Margaret, Makawe, but let me start with Makawe and then I come to Margaret. Makawe, can you quickly decompose that question and then we hear from Margaret?
Okay, so when it comes to things to avoid, I think speaking of the CV, what's important is to just keep it simple. So if you can remove some of the stuff, I know, there are some things in the CV which are not necessary, especially based on the application which you'll be trying to, go through. So, for example, if you know that you're applying for a master's or a PhD, the experience which you need, you don't need a lot of experience. You don't need a lot of just experience, but you need experience which is related to the field to which you're applying to. So always keep it simple, and just, I think that's all I can say on the CV. And then also, in addition to that, when you're writing your SOP or your statement of purpose or statement of intent, I know that you can go online and just search, and statement of purposes will just pop up. Make sure that you actually customize it and change some of the things, because it's easy to see if somebody just took something from the internet as it is, and just change their name. So always make sure that you customize it, give it time, put effort into it, and actually do change. Just use online templates as a guide, but do make it in your own words so that it stands out. So I think that's all I can say on that. I don't know on the formats, if there is any specific format which is required, but in my knowledge, I don't think the format is necessary. Just a simple layout, you should be fine. I don't know if I answered that right.
Okay. Margaret, do you have something to add?
No, you've said it all.
Okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is, when you're writing these things, consult as many people as you can that you believe are more knowledgeable, or at least even a colleague, so that they can proofread what you're writing and to see if it makes sense, right? So, of course, preferably if you do have a mentor or a professor, whether it's within the department or outside the country, who is familiar with some of those things, it's kind of best for them to review and tell you some of where you need to add and what you need to remove. Those are some of those things. And then uh, just consult. I think roughly that's all that I wanted to say. Consult every time. And then when it comes to writing, me personally, I made use of AI for template formulation, but I did not copy and paste it. So you may try that, but don't copy and paste, because all these university, they do have an anti-plagiarism. They do run anti-plagiarism software. So if your SOP or your whatnot was copied and pasted, it's completely discarded, especially if they check that it was written by AI. So it's very difficult for you to be accepted in that case. But if you use it as a template, me, I use those ones. I use AI for a specific template, like in a customized template, because I tell them I'm a PhD in chem. I want to apply for a PhD in chemistry for a what. Please, can you just write an SOP and tell me what I need to focus on? And it tells you what you need to focus on, and sometimes benchmark it with some other stuff that have been written as well. So roughly, I think that's what I have on that. Um, Makawet, do you have last words? And Margaret, you have last words so that we can now wrap up.
Last words is be hopeful. Be hopeful. Don't give up.
Makawet?
Yeah. So my last words are the application process itself. To start seems before you start, it seems like it's a lot. But the moment you begin, you realize it's actually not as difficult, but it will take a chunk of your time. So give it all your best and just hope for the best.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Me, for my last words before we close, I just want to say it's doable. It's very much doable. There's nothing fancy alien about coming to the USA, to be much more specific. Some of our backgrounds, you might not know us personally, but you might be surprised that we come from the regs, but we are here. So just know that it's doable. And what it takes for it to be doable is you need to really be action-centered, be proactive, be preparation-centered. Like, be proactive in simple terms. Do not wait for the last minute, right? And be willing or be humble enough to ask where you don't know. Be willing and humble enough to learn from others who have walked the path. Be willing and humble enough to connect with people who are not in your circles in order for you to harness the opportunities that lie beyond or whatsoever. So just go out of your comfort zone. If you have internet, just give yourself time to say, okay, during the day, I'm going to focus on this and I want to get this done. I tell you, the results eventually come. And I always tell people that apply to at least 3 universities using the proper method, using the most efficient way that is possible. You at least, if you get rejected all of them, at least you get some specific feedback which can help you to really now beef up your applications. And do not be limited by some circumstances, whether it's your degree class, whether it's your research experience. Take your chances and just go. You'll be surprised what our waits are ahead. So with this, guys, thank you for coming. I saw that today you came in your numbers, and I'm really, really grateful. Our last Zoom meeting had about 3 people. So this is times 6, right? I think we got to around 20 participants, which is really great. And I want to thank you for coming. And I really hope you the best. And please just apply. With this, I want to close today's session. If you have more questions or some points that you think we forgot, please post them within the group and we'll be willing to answer them. Please, I repeat once again, feel free to ask those questions in the group, right? Feel free no matter what, no matter how silly it is, we'll be patient enough to try to address it. And also, I want to tell you that there are some who have already applied and some who are successful. Actually, I think we have a number of them. I think approximately 5 people who in this group that we're working in this initiative, there are people who applied and they got accepted, and they are now, some of them are starting this August. Some of them are also working on the next year, starting next year. So it's doable. The only missing link is your action. Have a good day.
Jonathan,
Yes.
someone wants the group link.
Yes, I'm posting it soon. Thank you very much for that. Let me just look it up and then I post it now.
Spirit, yeah. Can you wait before leaving so that Jonathan
Yes,
can
yes.
or you can post it for everyone who wants to join.
Yes, I am going to do that. I'm going to do that for everyone who attended this session. I am going to post the group link. I'm trying to extract it from my PC. How do I do that? My PC is not forthcoming for that. Okay. Okay, yeah, I found it. Okay. There we go. So all those who wanna make use of the group, I have sent the group link. Did you see? Is it? Oh, it's not there yet. What's happening?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Something is wrong.
I
Oh,
cannot see the link.
wait. I saw Faith actually left. So let me try to send it to everyone. How do I do this now? I'm not really good at this. Let me go back to the chat. Everyone. Okay, yep. Okay, I've seen it. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Okay, thank you very much, Margaret and McClowy. Is Margaret out already? McClowy, thank you very much.
Yeah, you are more than welcome. This initiative is really helping out. All thanks to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's you guys who are waking up. Thank you very much, guys. Please feel free to answer some of the questions that are asked in the group if you have time, of course.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
feel free.
Yeah.
If you have time.
Address them, yes.
Yeah, if you have time, you can answer. Me, I do answer them when I have time. So
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Take care.
you.
okay, bye-bye. Have a good page going, right?
All right. Thank you. You as well.